The battle wages on in the Big Ten for the title of best team. And is that best team in the Big Ten the best team in all of college football? Welcome to the Voice of College Football. Appreciate you stopping by for the best in discussion, debate, and analysis. Leave those comments, questions down below. Indiana 55, Maryland 10. Wow. The Hoosiers, regardless of who may be the best team in the country, I don't know. I believe it's Ohio State, probably. I don't know. That Indiana plays the most complete games. They are the most impressive. They are showing the least number of weaknesses. They are exemplary in all phases. Special teams, passing offense, rushing offense, pass defense, and rushing defense. They've got it all working. 55-10 again today following a 56-6 drubbing of UCLA. And the Bruins, no, they're not a great football team either, like Maryland. But who else is beating Maryland by 45 points or beating the UCLA Bruins by 50 points or beating Illinois by 53 points? Who's doing that? Nobody. Nobody in college football. Indiana is slaughtering teams like no one else playing complete football games. Except for the first 5 minutes of the game. Maryland came out strong. They were punching, taking their puncher shot as a 3-touchdown underdog. I quickly jumped on that for Indiana to give the 3 touchdowns. Vegas will catch up at some point here. Jamari Glasgow, the Maryland cornerback, guessed, and he guessed right, and he does that often. 5 interceptions this season. Maryland leads the nation with 15. And Glasgow picked off Fernando Mendoza and put on the brakes just temporarily of that Mendoza Heisman talk out there. Great anticipation by Glasgow on the interception to the out route. And he picked it off, ran it all the way down to the 12-yard line. But unfortunately for Maryland, they lived up to their reputation as having one of the worst, and statistically, not just the reputation, the stats prove it and bear it out, one of the worst red zone offenses in all of college football. Field goal for the Terps, 3-0. Good start, but needed to be better. I had my thoughts at that point. Well, they needed the touchdown there. Maybe Mike Locksley should have gone for it. He just had a couple yards to go down near the goal line. Jalen Husky, one of Maryland's top safeties, out for the first half. He had a targeting penalty against him out at the Rose Bowl against UCLA, so he was out for the first half of this game. The Maryland pass rush was devastating early. Again, I emphasize, very early in the game. The first 2 or 3 drives, Maryland was the better football team. Evan Thomas, Sidney Stewart, also David Wingate coming off the blitz as Maryland threw the kitchen sink at Fernando Mendoza early. But you can only throw so many things out the sink, and you don't have any more kitchen appliances left, and that was the deal with Maryland. So the Hoosiers withstood it early, and Malik Washington, the heralded 5-star quarterback who's off to such a great start, good decision by Mike Locksley to start him this season. I don't know if there was much of a decision to make, but certainly there was a 3-man battle for the quarterbacking job there at Maryland in August camp in Washington. He is going to be the future of this program, Locksley there or not. But he made so many mistakes, and the pass rush and the Indiana defense was way too much for him. But on one particular sequence, this shows you what we got in Malik Washington against a good defense. He's put up nice numbers in games in which Maryland, for 3 consecutive weeks, actually had a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter against Washington, Nebraska, and UCLA. Blew all 3 games. Maryland could have a nice record coming into this one, but they never had more than a 3-0 lead against Indiana. But on a particular sequence, this shows you what Malik Washington is. He delivered a ridiculous laser throw, threw the ball like 30 to 40 yards, not lofting it downfield, a laser running to his left and threaded the needle for a big gain for Maryland. That got him down to the 22-yard line, so they're in the red zone, and at this point, it's only like 10-0. But Caden Turner with the interception as the ball was thrown right to him by Washington. Washington didn't see him. And really in the first half, after the Maryland quick burst of defensive pressure and the really good plays by the pass rush and by Glasgow, had nothing going on the ground. The Indiana front wall on defense just dominated this game, and on the flip side, again, Indiana dominated in the run game. This is the underappreciated part of Indiana's repertoire, I believe, nationally. I don't know that a lot of people know how well Indiana runs the football. But if you were watching the CBS broadcast, you saw the white jerseys just pushing back the red jerseys constantly. The rushing was 133-3 at one point in the first quarter. It ended up 367-37. Rarely do you see that type of dominance. And then Indiana finally got it going. Again, you can only throw so many blitzes out there. You can only guess on so many routes and guess right and get the interception. So Maryland tried and wilted early. Elijah Surratt, probably the biggest concern coming out of this game for the Hoosiers. Their top receiver, arguably, left in the first quarter. He had a string of 46 consecutive games that leads all of college football in terms of receptions, but left in the first quarter. We do not know his status. Talked about Glasker's interception being a thing of beauty. On the other side, with Lewis Moore, the safety for Indiana, beating the wide receiver on the route to the football, looked like the wide receiver taking the ball away and tracking the football downfield. Very impressive for Indiana. They led 20-3 at halftime. There was a glimmer of hope for the Terps in the third quarter. So 20-3 at this point. You had Malik Washington again rolling left, dumped it off to DeJuan Williams. And probably the worst play by the Indiana defense, just no pursuit, bad pursuit angles. He turned the corner. He went all the way for the touchdown. And we had a 20-10 game at that point, even though Indiana statistically was dominating and physically dominating in the trenches. The Terps had a glimmer of hope getting within 10 points. But right back come the Hoosiers. Kaylon Black with a 31-yard touchdown run. And again, the rushing attack of Indiana was devastating. No, Maryland does not have a great defense, but they're not giving up 367 yards on the ground to anybody. 27-10 at that point. And then the Indiana defense, again, just making game-changing plays over and over and over. Devon Boykin, he not only stopped Malik Washington, who pulled the football in the read option play, but just took the ball right out of his hands and ran for a touchdown. 34-10 at that point, and it just ensued from there and just turned into a complete mauling. Indiana 55, Maryland 10, 8-0 for the Hoosiers. They go to Penn State next week in what appeared to be the games of the year, one of the games of the year in the Big Ten preseason, but certainly is not. Maybe the Nittany Lions put up a fight. I don't know if anyone's putting up a fight that's not possibly Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game at this point against this Hoosiers team. Maryland's 4-4. They're going to have to scrape and claw to get to a bowl game. They go to Rutgers, who is having a dismal season in the Big Ten at 1-6. Your thoughts about Indiana football? They are not to be ignored or discounted at this point. I don't know if they're the best team in the country, but hey, just be one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the country and then get hot and get the right matchups in the college football playoff. This Big Ten championship game should be a classic as it stacks up right now. Talk to me about the Hoosiers. Join our show late night, the college football show, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or post-game right here at the Voice of College Football.